Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my first impressions of Wargroove. This is a turn-based strategy game by Chucklefish. Chucklefish made a game called Starbound a while ago, released in early access. It was a Terraria successor, and it wasn't that great. It was all style over substance, really cool exploration going on, but gameplay wasn't that great. I can say for certain they've completely redeemed themselves with this game. This is a game resembling Advanced Wars, which was an old turn-based strategy game on the Game Boy Advance. It was a series of games. It started with Famicom Wars way, way back, but basically you have this nice, clean pixel art. Although this one's a lot more detailed than Advanced Wars. And you have, this tile moving system, so you move your units around, you attack an enemy, so they'll have like a certain fighting power, they'll have like health. As you whittle down their health, they do less damage. You'd of course restore that. There's a rock, paper, scissors mechanic going on. Some units hard counter others. There's cover, there's defenses, there's all kinds of cool stuff. So let's kind of get into it. So here is one of the optional missions in the game. We're defending our villagers right here from bandits. And there's not much we can do right now. The bandits are all over there, but we can move in to secure these outlying little villages, which will give us gold to make more troops. So let's make some. You have a wide variety here. Can seem a little bit overwhelming, especially considering there's another building later on in the game that gives you more units to choose from. They're like these advanced units. But, you got your basic swordsmen, pikemen, and, obviously pikemen, guys with spears. They're going to be good against knights. Battle pups, these are good for scouting, especially in an area with fog. There's all kinds of cool weather effects in this game too. Wagons, transportation, alchemists, anti-air, and they can also heal. Each unit has their own critical strike ability, so it's this guy, for example, swordsman, if he's adjacent to your commander unit, he will deal extra damage. Alright, let's get these guys set up. Now I'm going to kind of blow through some of the mechanics, because I do want to show you the gameplay here, so I'm going to go a little bit fast. Like every other video I do. So, I'm going to move my guy over here to try to capture this base. It's neutral, so shouldn't have too much of a problem. Click capture. So this gives us gold every turn, and once you garrison it, depending on your unit's health, you get half that health inside the garrison, so we have a garrison power of 5. This will go up eventually. And you can use that number right there. It's defensive, so it's going to have a power level of, 50. 5 or 5, whatever you prefer. So someone attacking that is going to need to do just a little bit of damage to get rid of that, but as it goes up, the fort gets stronger. Basically, it gets automatically reinforced. And what you could also do is that if your units are injured, you can go up to it and click reinforce, spend some gold, and you take some of this number right here to give it to your guys. So that is a cool mechanic. You're weakening your fort, but you're strengthening up your units. Let's end our turn. Probably should have moved them down here. So we just gotta hold out for as long as possible. We're just gonna keep capturing these points until he comes over. So the game is being a little bit generous here, giving us some time. Now, there are some difficulty options in this game if you find it to be easy. Frankly, I'm finding the challenge to be pretty decent so far. There's a couple exceptions. Sometimes games tend to drag. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the game is mostly pretty challenging. It's kind of like Skulls of the Shogun in that regard. You don't think it will be, but it's actually like a reasonable challenge. Sometimes the enemy has a lot more stuff than you do, but the levels are scripted, so they're at least designed fairly well. Like the idea that you're not fighting some random set of skirmishes that you can do in multiplayer, but probably have more fun because, you're not fighting AI, you're fighting people. But like in this example, you're not really... You don't have to capture the enemy base or kill the enemy commander, which is how you win. Instead, you're just fighting some waves. You can also skip through this if you hold the right click, and this game can be played with a controller. If you hold right click, it'll kind of skip through everything, including the battles. You can also have it permanently disabled, so it'll just skip battles automatically, which is nice, especially for multiplayer. Alright, we'll get into a fight in a second. I'm just trying to set up here. So our knight right here, he can move very far, so depending on where he's moving, so like this road, great for vehicles, you can go very far, you've got this big movement range. If you're trying to move through mountains or trees, well, that's a bit of a problem. They take away movement. And at the bottom right there of the screen, you can see the defensive buffs, if any, that an area gets. So plain grass, roads, forests. Some units can benefit from attacking from mountains like harpies. Units on top of mountains like dogs can reveal fog of war. A lot of it. So that's really cool. Okay, we have 900, so let's get a trebuchet in here. The Superior Siege Vehicle. Alright, and let's go over here. It's a little bit risky. So this is my commander unit. Cherrystone General and a very, very good boy. This game does have a pleasant sense of humor, I gotta say. Some of the dialogue is actually quite funny, and some of the sound bites are really nice, especially for the voice acting. It's not fully voiced, but there is just enough that every character will have like their own response, which is good. And their characters also call out their special actions too, which I do like. It's a little bit unexpected. Sometimes a lot of games, outside of very specific like events and cutscenes, they're like completely cheap out on the voice acting. Here, you always just hear it whenever like a unit is involved. It's not like fully voiced all the time, but you know, it's nice to hear something. I played way too many RPGs where the main character will like talk in like the first 30 minutes, and then like the side characters will talk, and then he won't talk. It's very weird. So let's go capture some points. We can't. So as infantry and vehicles, you cannot, or mounted infantry, you cannot capture these points, which is kind of crap. But we can move over here. These alchemists can attack air units, and they can also heal, which is nice. All right, we're gonna garrison, and we're gonna set up a little bit over here. We gotta be careful. There's some pikemen over here. They're gonna absolutely mess up our knights. So I'm gonna actually let you listen to the music for a second and shut up for a bit, because it is actually quite nice. It's pretty good. There needs to be a little bit more variation, I think. Like, eventually you start hearing, like, the one track with the whistling. It just starts to get a little grating. And that's kind of a problem, because it is the main battle music theme. But this battle music, I haven't gotten tired of it yet. It's quite nice. Alright, so here's how the combat works. So, you can move around, obviously. And when you click a unit, if there's red boxes around some of these units, that means you are able to attack them. It doesn't show where you can attack them or what tiles sometimes. So if you're playing like with a ranged unit, you gotta kind of be mindful of that. But it's very hard to make a mistake in this game. Now, if you do, it does suck because there is no undo move function, which is very annoying. And I can understand for multiplayer, some people will be trying like a bunch of moves out, seeing where they can go and just undoing. But I feel like if you're making a movement mistake, that should be correctable. Or you at least should get like one or two, you know, hey, let me redo that. I can kind of understand that for a competitive game, not so much in a single player game. So I'll move over here, left click, and then it gives me an option to attack or wait. Now if I wait, it immediately ends, but if I click attack, I can do this, and if there's like other units nearby, I can actually select which one. So, like, I move here, and this is my option to attack. So, I feel like it should be more automatic, because, you know, there's only one unit. But it's fine. It just means it's very specific, and you won't end up making a mistake. Plus, the attack is the first option, so let's say I wanted to move instead. I get one chance to not screw it up and redo that. So that's nice. So, I did a ton of damage to those infantry, because he's a hero unit. He does a ton of damage. And I also had some defense there, although he did too. So, when you deal damage, the enemy is weakened, the enemy forces, and basically he's going to do a lot less damage if he tries to attack me. So when I attacked him, there was two lines. There was a red bar and a blue bar. Now that red bar is how much damage I did to him, and the blue bar is how much damage he counterattacks. So you want to attack first to weaken the enemy, always. Put my guy over here. Round up my dudes. Okay. These guys are just gonna, I guess, sit here and look pretty. Let me get something else out. How about a ballista? Let's go for that. Need some defense over here. I'm gonna put this guy in the bushes. This guy can do extra damage if he's attacking with 3 defense or more, and the forest gives him 3 defense. There are other ways to boost defense besides Trident. For example, there isn't a unit in this game that can provide a buff within a certain radius to give everyone +1 defense, which is great to fight on. So if you're fortifying an area, you can hold out pretty long. So this is the fort, he's attacking it, and the fort does counter, which is nice. Now this is 2 defense, and he's got the... Yeah, he's gonna smash that thing. So it's gonna go neutral now, so he has to attack it one more time to claim it. But he's only gonna get about half of the defensive value if he uses this 7 value troop. The 7 and the 1s here, these are representative of percentages. So you have, 100%, you're not gonna see a number, but it's a nicer way of seeing, like, oh, 70% health, or 70% fighting efficiency. So when you see that red bar that shows, like, the little percentage, that's how much you can know if you're gonna kill him or not. Sometimes I've seen, like, 101% and the guy still lives, so I don't know how that happened. It might have something to do with the defense value, but I'm assuming that's calculated usually afterwards, because that's what it usually shows. So, right here, if I go over here, I'll do 100% damage. That's because I'm at full health, and there's no blue bar, there's no blue arrow, because he can't counterattack me because he'll be dead. Now, if I go over here and attack this guy, I won't kill him, I'll do 60%, but he'll hit me for 14. Now, because it's flashing, he'll actually hit me for a critical strike, so normally he won't even do that much if I whittle him down to 40% of his fighting efficiency. Because, like I said, he's a wizard. He's actually getting that bonus from the trees. So I'm going to do this a little bit safer. I'm going to attack this guy. Just eat him. Animations are quite nice, but they do take a little bit. I feel like there needs to be a sped up animation, not a skip. Because when you start holding the right click, it goes like 2 seconds into the animation, and then you gotta wait still. It's a little annoying. Okay, this guy can crush, that guy can crush. So I think what we're gonna do is... these pikemen are gonna be a little annoying, but that's okay. And no, when you attack dogs and beat them in this game, they just run away. They don't die. For anyone who's a little bit squeamish, I own one myself, and it's just so weird killing dogs in video games. I just hate that. It's just gut-wrenching. So, might be noticing this game is taking quite a bit, and these games can get quite lengthy. And that's good depending on who you are. Like, obviously, I like a nice strategy game I could sit down and warm up to. But for a game like this, it's very simplistic. This worked really well on the Game Boy Advance when you were portable and you had a lot of time. Some of these matches can go on for almost an hour, depending on how the enemy sets up defensively. Like, this is obviously scripted, so it might go a little faster, but when you have to invade an enemy base or attack an enemy, they'll play chicken, they'll run away, and it's a good strategy, but man, the game can really go on, and I'm worried about multiplayer. So I played a little bit of that with a friend. You can play 4 players locally, which is awesome. You have a bunch of maps. You can even create your own maps for campaigns, the alternate modes, which I'll show you in a little bit, or the... you can do campaigns, puzzle mode, or arcade mode, or local multiplayer, which is really cool. And there's a lot of maps to start out with, so this game's gonna have a really nice set of custom content when it launches. It's gonna be really nice, and that online multiplayer is gonna be really nice icing on the cake. But that's gonna be the deciding factor. How is this gonna work for online? Are they gonna force people to turn off animations or what? I haven't been able to play an online game because, well, no one really has it. It's not out yet. But 4 players, like, in fact, I think in Advanced Wars 2 or the DS version, when that was... Oh, jeez, I actually might die here. Oh, boy. Skip through this. When Advance Wars was first coming out, like in its earlier forms, the developers decided not to add more than 2-player multiplayer mode because it would just take forever. If you get this game on Steam, it does mitigate it a little bit. You can play this game in borderless windowed mode or windowed mode, and Steam will notify you when it's your turn, which is a good idea. I actually think I'm going to lose this one, though. Sure, the catapult, though. So if it's in max range, you can actually do this. Max damage. Kaboom. Alright. This one's not going to go over well for me. Yeah, I'm definitely not getting out of this. If you lose your commander, you lose the game, or if you lose your fort. And in this case, I believe if I lose these peasants, I also lose. So we're going to get out of here and show you a little bit of the overworld map. Look around a little bit. So you have arcade mode. So pick a commander and hunt a mysterious weapon. The idea is you pick a commander and you do a succession of 5 missions. And once you do, you win. You unlock characters in the story campaign, usually through the bonus mode. So that bonus level I was playing, well, the one previous to that, I unlocked Caesar, Queen's best friend. The story follows this character, Mercia. She is the heir to the throne. Her father got killed by another faction, and the story's alluding to a little bit more than just, oh, it's a revenge plot. It's actually quite interesting. But I haven't gotten too far into it yet to really have it catch my attention. And I've given this game a bit of a chance. I'm going to definitely play a little bit more of it because I do really like this game and I do recommend it. But the campaign is fun. Of course, you can create your own over here. Puzzle mode, that's basically you have a set of... you have basically a set challenge in front of you. So what you have to do is you have to clear an objective in 1 turn. So you have all these units, the enemy will have these units, and you have to like set it up to complete it. This is about 3 hours into the main game. Some levels can take very long, that's why I haven't gotten too far yet. Like one level took me 2 tries. They're about 20-30 minutes each. I think it was this guy right here, or this one. No, it was probably this one. Yeah, so it was this guy right here. Basically, what was happening was, I had to fight this this character with his army of like plant monsters. Armies in this game are just reskinned, so you'll have like 4 different factions, like these 4 colors. Like you have forest monsters, humans, vampire, beastmen, and they'll just be palette swaps. They'll all be like, everyone will have archers, everyone will have infantry, basic infantry, everyone will have dogs, just 3 colors of it. And I do like that effort. It's not just all humans versus humans like Advance Wars was. So at least there is some more effort in the art style, and it does, of course, look gorgeous. But basically, story short, I was fighting this really frustrating enemy AI that kept running away, and by the time I was starting to actually win, the guy was sitting on 3,000 gold, and I'm thinking, how come he hasn't killed me yet? So we start sending a few units, but earlier in that game, he was sending these, like, Titan tree war monsters, and they were just decimating my forces, and he could have just kept sending them, but he didn't. So, it's weird. I really do not like a lot of strategy game AI in these campaigns because they just they're overwhelmingly just incredibly aggressive, or they just kind of cheap out, or they just decide to be really stupid and send weak units at, like, your garrisons. It's frustrating, man. But I think this game usually gets away with it. It's fun enough. Extras here, you have the gallery and the jukebox for your tunes. Codex, this gives you information on all the characters, a little bit of background. You don't have everything unlocked immediately, so you don't have to, read a Bible's worth of information. It gives you something basic, and then you can unlock more as you play the game, as you do side quests, missions. And of course, you have a whole reference right here. A little bit of backstory, everything in the game, what they do, custom content, so you can, of course, create and share. Pretty sure this is going to have Steam Workshop integration. Multiplayer, you have your local and your online. And of course, it does save your game, but you can't keep multiple saves. You can only have one. So when you log back in, when you make a choice, it's permanent. But yeah, a lot of multiplayer maps. So overall, I gotta say, really solid game, well put together, interesting enough story, fun missions, great sound bites, good humor.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth your time if you like strategy games, and I think the local multiplayer option, if you have friends to play with, is a really enticing offer. You're going to be playing for a very long time if you do the multiplayer. Like, sessions are going to last upwards of an hour, and I'd say that's what you should expect, 40 minutes to an hour. But if your friends have some patience, you know, I got a guy who came over, didn't really like a whole lot of strategy games, did like Skulls of the Shogun, you know, told him, like, you know, this game's kind of similar to it, absolutely loved it. He's not even the biggest fan of strategy games. Again, full hour for some of these missions. Like, it can wear on you, and it did wear on us, but we had a lot of fun.
Hey.
But yeah, there you go. Wargroove, everyone, by Chucklefish. Online, local multiplayer, single-player story campaign, tons of extras, good rock, paper, scissors strategy. The Advanced War successor you want. And it's on Steam, Switch, Xbox One, and PS4. Give it a shot. At least pick it up on Switch, because that portable mode is really enticing. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm out.